Welcome back to the League of Legends Championship Series. My name is Quickshot. I am joined by Jason Kaplan and the bricked, wicked, giant crocodile Renekton. How are you doing, Wicked?
I'm doing pretty good. We just won. We finally won a game.
Yeah, it's been a little while, but let's be honest. You guys didn't do too badly at IEM Hanover. The last game of the stream, and unfortunately, or last game of the day, wasn't streamed, but you did go 2 and 3 in the groups. You knocked out SK Gaming. How do you feel about that?
Well, if we don't get to advance, they shouldn't advance either. It's just fair play.
Well, I think they knocked out SK and themselves during that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was one of those setups where if SK Gaming had won the match, there was a tiny chance they could advance. And of course, if EG won, it would mean you're both going to be knocked out.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've got you on camera on stream. We've seen 2 weeks of not what we're used to seeing from Evil Geniuses. What's happening? What went wrong? What happened over the course of the last 2 weeks?
So we found out that our passive playstyle doesn't work anymore, and we just went into a mindset, just play like solo queue, be aggressive, go into the jungle, don't care if they have a ward or not, because often you don't die even if they have a ward. It doesn't matter. You just need to get vision up and just be aggressive at all times.
Is that where the Berserker's Greaves, Blade of the Ruined King, Renekton comes from?
Yeah, I played all the time in solo queue, and my team loved me playing tanky Renekton, but I was like, I'm just going to go full damage. They have a combo where they can charge in and go for one guy. But if you all build damage, they can't just kill one guy, because all of us are going to kill them.
So how much of this last week's preparation has been, I don't want to say redefining your gameplay style, because even watching that aggressive game which you just played now, there was still a lot of elements of Evil Genius's control. You guys waited for the cocoon, you waited for the binding, you let Crepo bait with the repel. You still had that calm, it's a passive-aggressive playstyle. That's what it is. You wait until a skill shot lands and then you go in. Is that going to develop? Is that something you worked on? Is it just, a product of the champions you play?
It's something we worked on the last week. Pretty much as I said earlier, all we have to do is be in the jungles, get vision up, because we used to never have vision in the jungle. We used to be afraid of going into the jungle, and we didn't really want to take any aggressive plays because we could die from it. And now we don't really care as much if we die anymore, so we just go in.
Yeah, I suppose it's true. We're halfway through. Five weeks in now. You guys have got, I think that's now your 13th game that you've just played. So getting towards that 14th game, which will be exactly halfway through the league and the ladder and everything. What has sort of surprised or impressed you about the LCS so far, the teams, the games, and everything, now that we've got to this 5-week point?
What's impressed me the most is the bottom teams of the LCS, because it used to be the top 4 teams. They would be like, yeah, they're going to win, easy. But the bottom teams are improving a lot, they're improving really fast, and they can compete now. They can easily win all the games.
And I want to ask you this question. It's kind of it's a little bit personal question, but how do you feel about teams never wanting to go 1v1 against you in that top lane? They always keep sending their AD carry support against you. You never get that 1v1 lane.
I think it's really annoying because I never get to win my lane and I have to be really careful all the time and I have to ward.
Yeah, in Season 2, it was you getting ganked and camped constantly. Now it's, hey, let's send our AD carry support at him because we don't want to go head-to-head kind of thing. But in terms of EG, we've seen Snoopy starting to expand on some champions. We've seen Crepo, Yellow Pete as well, and you have started playing some new champions. How do you feel about that? Because I know you were kind of tired of playing the same 3 or 4 champions in Season 2. Are you enjoying this experience of finally playing new champions?
Well, my team wants me to pick up even more champions. I'm like, no thanks. I don't want to pick out champions. I like the champions I play. I've always liked a few champions. I don't really mind not playing that many, but Snoopy had to change his entire roster because he used to play supportist junglers, and now he needs to play aggressive junglers like Xin Xiao, Jarvan. So it's been kind of rough for him.
How's that kind of affect you guys as a team? Because you were mentioning, we were too afraid to invade the enemy jungle. We didn't want to, let someone die. But he's playing a lot more aggressive junglers. It has to affect you as a team. I mean, walk us through that.
Well, it affects us a lot. For example, we used to play where we just get Froggen fed, give him all the farm he wants, and then he can pretty much win the game alone because he can poke everyone and he can kill everyone alone. All we had to do is just back him up. And now we kind of have to depend on everyone in every single situation. So it's a lot different.
Actually, talking on that point, this is something that Jat and I were discussing yesterday, and it was a discussion point that we wanted to run by actually you in particular. It was like, well, if we get Wicked on the desk, Jat describes the Evil Geniuses playstyle as being, Season 2 very much, centralized around Froggen. You build a team, you build a composition that can work very well as a 5, but with Froggen there in the middle. And you just use the exact same description. You've already shown that you can break the mold by, putting more pressure on the other lanes, having, Snoopy expand his champion pool. This game that we just watched, Yellow Pete was insanely aggressive. It's something that we haven't seen out of him in a little while, and it could have been because he was winning the 1v2s that we've seen. But are you individually going, well, look, Snoopy's going to work on this, I need to work on this, you need to work on that? Are you actually pulling one another out, calling one another out and saying, you've got to change, you've got to adapt, you've got to develop?
Yeah, we complain to each other all the time what people have to improve, and we normally only complain about the general things, because if you make a mistake in a game, you can't just fix that. It's a mistake, you'll make it again. But general things, like Pete used to play very passive, and so did Crep on bottom lane. And we were like, you need to play more aggressive, you need to get more pressure on that lane. And they're doing it now. They're being really aggressive, and it works out really well.
It's a lot more exciting to watch as well.
Yeah, it's better than seeing those 60-minute games where, like, 30 minutes in, oh, they aced him. But no worry, guys, we got a half an hour to go.
Now, talk us through now your opposition. You've talked about the lower teams and how they've impressed, and it was sort of the weekend of upsets at Super Week. When you look at teams, let's say, for example, against All Authority, who I think you are playing later this weekend, you've talked about how they play so many different champions and things like that. How do you view a team like that from a gameplay perspective? Like, what do you think of their pool, the strategies, things like that?
Well, you can't really think too much about it, because all you have to do is play your style and then try and improve it into a way where it can beat the opponent. Before every game, we always check the Wikipedia. We can see all the matches they played in LCS. So we can see all the champions they're playing, and we know kind of what they're going to play, how many times they play heroes. So it's not that we don't know anything about them. We'll know everything we need to know, and we can just pick towards that.
And speaking of how you guys have started changing your playstyle, being more aggressive, what about lane swapping? For instance, having AD carry support middle. We've seen even, I think it was Frost, they sent their AP middle bottom. It was Gragas mostly, though. Have you guys started experimenting a little bit? Because I know in Intel Extreme Masters World Championships, you ran Zed middle and Froggen was, I believe, bot lane as Singed.
Yeah, we experienced it. We saw a team play Lux against us. I think it was, I'm not sure who it was, but one of the teams we practiced against played Lux against us on a solo lane, top lane. And it worked out pretty well. So we tried it as well, and we just try to copy others and see what works for us.
Okay, actually, let's expand on that a little bit, because the game has been changing, and I think it's probably the most volatile period of change in competitive League of Legends history. I mean, we've seen more meta shifts and lane swaps and champions than ever before. We're on patch 3.03. It's effectively what's live at the minute. So Taric is very, very strong at the moment. Blade of the Ruined King has been in and changed a little bit. How much does the patch that we're playing on, in comparison to the previous patch, the one before that, actually affect the game?
I don't think it affects the game that much. I think it's mostly mindset of the players. For example, if a new hero gets buffed or something, everyone's going to be like, oh my god, he's so strong now, just because he got buffed, even if it's a very slight buff. And it's mostly just mindset. For example, right now we played Elise bottom. No one else really does that, and she's really good, but no one else would do it.
And I kind of want to expand that a little further, is that we have to keep in mind that you guys are always playing on a patch behind mostly. It depends on when they're released, obviously. But how does that affect you guys in practicing? Like, are you preparing on Tournament Realm on that patch so you don't, kind of forget that, in 3.03 Taric gets buffed, but we're on 3.02, so we shouldn't really, worry about him?
No, we don't really practice on Tournament Realm at all. We want to sometimes, but we haven't done it at all. I don't think it affects us that much, because the patches right now are mostly minimal. They're not a huge change or anything. It's only a small thing. So you can still remember it, and you still know what they do, and you'll still be comfortable playing those champions, even if they got nerfed.
Yeah, I like that. No, I like that indeed. Now, we're going into a couple other games throughout the weekend. Next up, I believe we are going to have SK Gaming taking on against All Authority. I just had a brief chat to Ocelot this morning, and I was saying, well, they've got 2 matches today against Dragonborns and against AAA, and he actually said he's a little more afraid of against All Authority in that matchup. He just feels that AAA as a team can counter SK. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I think it's more that he's comfortable against Dragonborns, because Dragonborns always does those random tactics that no other team does, or it's kind of random for us. And I think SK is really good at adapting, so they're comfortable playing against that. But against AA, they play a pretty standard playstyle. They always do what they do, but they play it really well.
Okay, so they're more afraid of the individual skill as opposed to the crazy tactics, the dive buddies, the Nassus, the Vi, etc.
Yeah.
Going absolutely deep. In terms of the Dragon Ball's playstyle, the fact that they are super, super aggressive, what do they need to do to improve from where they are? Because we keep sort of harping on their predictability almost.
I think they're very aggressive, but they're bad at keeping the control. If they get control of an area because they're so aggressive, they often just let go of the area again. And in the individual skill, I think that's another thing they need to improve on.
Okay.
Well, and speaking of that, I mean, when you guys, first of all, first question, do you guys sit down and watch replays of other teams playing to see like what their play style is? Because I know Snoopy talked to us before, where you guys do a lot of preparation of level 1 action. Like, do you guys, train with that?
We often do a lot of level 1 tactics. We used to do that, but for this week, we just were like just play like solo queue, play like we scrim, because that's what have been working for us lately. It didn't work, then we tried to predict everything they were doing, because if one thing went wrong, our mindset just switched completely, and we didn't know what to do.
So, I mean, we mentioned before about identity, and EG kind of, no offense, seem to have lost it over this past couple of weeks, you know, because you guys realized we can't really run the Season 2 style we've been playing. We've had Dragonborns who have their identity somewhat built up, but they haven't really focused it down yet. Is this new, like, kind of solo queue mentality, just be aggressive, maybe your new identity forming?
Well, we don't know yet. We only tried for a week, so we'll have to see what happens in the future. Like, a few more months down, you'll probably be able to tell.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. In terms of the training and we were just talking about level 1 preparation, talking about solo queue. You guys have been living in Cologne now for 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have got, I think it was 2 different apartments, and there was a story with the internet, and eventually got it up and running. Talk us through a day or a week of training in EG. How many hours do you guys log? Do you have a big whiteboard for drawing strats? You know, how does it work at home?
So what we pretty much do is we wake up, we go to the gym, or we just wake up and eat and so on. Get ready for the scrims. Then we scrim from 1 to 6. And after that, we cook together, and then we watch the replays. And after that, it's free time or it's solo queue time. We think it's really important to play a lot of solo queue as well, because in scrims, you don't really improve on your individual skill that much.
Yeah, you got to focus on both elements. In the scrims, it's about the teamwork, the coordination, the calling. In solo queue, it's mechanical, it's CSing, and it's making sure you land all your skill shots, which is something we know that Evil Geniuses are particularly good at. You have played a number of awesome champions of the LCS so far, and you broke my soul in week 3 or week 4 because you picked a mana champion. You've been playing a lot of Akali, you're playing a lot of Renekton, a lot of, picked some Rumble a couple times. What else are we going to see coming up? Are we going to see a Taric top lane?
You're definitely not going to see a Taric top lane. I don't like that here at all. He's so annoying.
Is it just the armor, or is it just the playstyle?
It's the playstyle. It's like he's way too defensive. He needs to stand back at all the time in laning phase, and then late game he can just 1v1 everything.
So he's not fabulous enough.
Not fabulous enough at all. Now, in terms of the champion pool, in terms of the different things that we have seen, let's go back to one of the nightmare picks for Evil Geniuses, the Soaz Blitzcrank. You were calling Soaz up before the match, and like, come on, let's go, bro. I want to fight. Soaz said, no way, bro. I don't want to fight. Picked Blitzcrank. They went the duo 2v1. It worked against you in that particular matchup. Why did it work? And if you could redo the matchup, what would you do differently?
I think if we could redo the matchup, all we have to do is be more aggressive, because if we played so passive, we let them have all the control, then they get a Blitzcrank hook off, they kill him, and they just keep on going. Like, the problem in that game was that we were way too passive. I would never get a 1v1 against him, because he had a teleport, and they'd just keep swapping if you tried to swap.
And looking at overall in LCS, because we're talking about Fnatic there, we have Gambit, who are on an 8-win streak in LCS. Who is your greatest competitor, do you think, right now?
I don't really know who's our greatest competitors anymore, because we changed our playstyle completely. And I don't know who's good against that yet, because we haven't played against all the teams.
Okay. And I kind of want to make it a little controversial. Have you guys been paying attention to North America at all?
I haven't seen any North American games.
I was going to ask you, what team would you prefer to play if you could right now? But if you haven't been watching, I guess that isn't really a good question.
Well, I would prefer to play Curse, because I want to beat Void by 1 versus 1. That's pretty much it.
Wow.
Well, okay, you've been talking so much about 1v1 and the fact that you love going head-to-head, you love going into those battles. How do you personally put yourself into the mindset of, damn it, I'm not 1v1 now, and I'm 1v2 again because Fnatic are too scared to fight me, or because they want to do some lane swaps? How much of a mental degradation, or how much does that affect you mentally going into a matchup? Because you really want to chomp at the 1v1s.
I don't think it affects me that much, but I want the 1v1 because I have a chance at winning. If I'm 2v1, then I don't really stand a chance at all, because the jungler's going to dive around minute 3, and all I have to do is put a ward, try and get CS, farm, and then just run away and leave my tower.
Does that kind of affect the champions you enjoy playing? I mean, you were talking about you only want to play like a certain amount of ones, but is it because you know you might be going 1v2, or you most likely will be?
Yeah, I can't play Aurelia anymore at all. She's still decent in a 1v1 situation, but she's completely terrible in a 1v2, and it would make no sense to pick her up.
And if you could, sorry, because I know I've known you for quite a while now, and I'm curious, if you could change Aurelia, because you've always been talking to Riot, Riot please buffer, what would you change on her to make her more viable?
I honestly don't know. Like, I'll just make her OP if I could, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
Okay, but now, let's see. Kevin's been using Aurelia a good couple of times this LCS, has been fortunate enough to be in those 1v1 situations, and he's managed to make that super tank Aurelia work. I think he pretty much just goes Warmog, Sunfire Cape, Randuins, if I remember correctly. Why is that working for him?
I think that people underrate Kevin a lot. I think he's really good 1v1. And people should just focus on going 2v1 against this Aurelia, because Aurelia is really bad 1v2. But everyone just lets him 1v1, and I think he's one of the best individual skilled players on top lane.
If you knew you were going to have a 1v1, if you knew for a fact that whoever you were facing off against was going to pick, was going to go in that top lane to face off against you, would Aurelia still be on your short list of champions you'd pick?
Yeah, probably, but I can't pick it now because 1v2 is possible. So.
So too afraid of the 1v2, too afraid indeed. We have a good couple of matches left today. We've talked about the SK AAA. We've talked about some of the other teams. Who should we still be looking out for? We've seen Copenhagen Wolves, they beat Fnatic. We've seen AAA picking up a win against Evil Geniuses. We've seen, Dragonborns beating SK. We've seen, so many different things. Who else should we be looking out for? Is this going to carry on happening? Is it just a fluke of Super Week?
I think it's something that's going to carry on happening. I think you should look out for every team. Right now, every team is around equal skill in the European scene. Every team is doing really well, and if you look over the games, the bottom teams are winning.
How much of those victories is based on preparation? Like, is it prepping coming in terms of composition? Is it just getting a lucky kill in the game? There was a particular matchup for the LCS where one of the team's players picked up 4 very early kills and managed to turn an upset because he got so strong so early. So is it prep or is it luck mostly that helps these guys win?
I think it's mostly preparation and mindset. Luck, of course, have a factor, but it's not that important. If you have the right mindset, like we lost the Baron in the last game and we played bad at some point, we got caught. But we still managed to win because we were aggressive at all time. We were just playing our playstyle and just being aggressive, and we were feeling good. But if you're feeling bad, we don't really feel like playing, and we don't know what to do, then you can't win.
All right. Well, it does look like we are almost ready to jump into game number 2. And is, of course, going to be SK Gaming versus Against All Authority. They have met once before in a game that was very, very close, very, very even. But SK Gaming just eventually said, nope, you shall not pass, dove into the AA backline and picked up the win. We're going to throw it over to Lee D-Man Smith and Joshua Jat Leesman to take away the game. What do you think who's going to win?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, last time they met, SK Gaming have been strong. I believe they are 2-0 currently versus Against All Authority.
I think you're right.
I prevented myself from saying against.
Versus Against All Authority.
Versus
There are other ones.
Against
battling
All Authority.
when playing.
It's a tricky name,
Yeah,
and
I like
I always
saying
say
against.
authorities as well. I know, internet. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but we are about to get the match underway. So let's check out the lineups for SK Gaming versus Against All Authority. So for SK Gaming, there is Candy Panda on your screen, and hopefully we'll have the lineup shown. Look at Nif. Concentration. That's a pairing that's been together for probably 2+ years now.
Yeah, and I don't think Nif gets enough credit. So many of SK's initiations in general are because of Nif, right? Like, he's usually the one who goes in and creates for them. His Sona ults are super on point in most situations. He's one of the best supports in the world. People just don't notice him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to doubt it because I absolutely love the pairing of Nif and Candy Panda. I mean, the Candy Panda, I used to call Caitlyn Candy Panda, and Candy Panda Caitlyn.
He's just played him so much.
Just because that's all he used to play. And now I feel he may well go back to it. But this is the patch where he could go to Tristana.
He could. Even New Blade of the Rune King.
Because he used
Tristana
to be the
bus.
original Tristana on
Their Tristana
Game.de, I believe.
Sona lane, Game.de, Season 1 World Championships in DreamHack. They had an interview after the game. I don't know why I remember this. And he was like, I think Sona Tristana is the best lane in the game. That was back then. So much has changed. But he likes that champion.
Well, let's check out the teams, of course, for SK Gaming. It is going to be the blue team, and there's Kevin, Hercubot, Ocelot, Candy Panda, and Nif. Some say the most attractive League of Legends team.
Yeah, and on the other side, they have Freddy112, Virtual, Schleia, No, and Corralius, who usually plays Sona.
We actually had to play the music for Jat because, obviously the Two Unlimited No song, which we actually played in the studio about 2 or 3 weeks ago for No, and they were loving it. They were dancing around the studio. But you guys in America just didn't know what the hell
I didn't know
about.
You played the No song? What
the hell's No song? I don't know what you're talking about. Let's check out the team. It is going to be Kevin. He's the main man for SK Gaming. He has been Mr. Consistent on SK Gaming, and we just heard Wicked talking about his Aurelia as well.
And that's what SK needs, is more consistency. Because of all the top teams in the European LCS, which SK Gaming has become now with the 7-4 record, they're like the team that you're like, if they play someone well, there's a chance they could lose that game because they're so swingy. They can just destroy Evil Geniuses or anyone, but they can also lose to anyone. So Kevin's consistency keeps the team together in a lot of ways.
And it's a hell of a big deal, the momentum, because they've got 2 games today. You know, they're playing Dragonborns later on.
Yeah.
So if they pick up a win here, you'd think going into a Dragonborns game, they're going to be super confident. But for Against All Authority, the man that's really been spearheading the victories is Schleyer. Schleyer for Nidalee, I was going to say. He's been banned out on Nidalee quite heavily, but he's really been the main man for Against All Authority. Everybody seems to target the bans towards him.
And when he's in the mid lane, he can also go top lane, right? Because the game they beat Evil Geniuses in, he was a top lane Kha'Zix with Freddy112 in the mid lane. So Schleyer, with his versatility, I mean, I've seen him actually play like Vayne in the mid lane and actually do pretty well with, or he played Vayne in bottom lane like way back in ECC Poland and stuff. He's very experienced with a lot of different champions, and Against All Authority needs him to win lanes because the team itself has been struggling a little bit in lane. So if Schleyer can get ahead in mid lane, we can see the mid laner then go and win the other lanes for the team.
Yeah, I mean, Schleier's a man of experience. He's been around for a long time. Lagigi, he was with Crepo and Yellow Pete. You know, this was one of the former teams before Wicked went, you know what, I'm going to start a team and I'm going to steal all your players.
He may have done that.
It's what he did. That's what he did. He's grinning at me. But yeah, I mean, so what are we expecting? SK Gaming, they're 2-0 in this mini series between the teams. This is their 3rd time they've met, and SK Gaming really, every time they've met, have really had quite the better of Against All Authority. You know, I'm not being disrespectful to AAA, but they've really been outplayed by SK Gaming. How are they going to turn things around this time?
Right. It's all going to depend right at the start on how SK Gaming opens up. We saw Ocelot beforehand, and just like every week, he's like, man, I'm really excited to play this game. We've been practicing a bunch. He says this every time, by the way. He's like, we're looking so solid. I play every mid laner.
He's Mr. Excited. I mean,
but it depends, right? Because Super Week, 4-1 for SK.
Yeah.
IM World Championships the next weekend, 1-4.
It was disappointing because I wanted him to go 5-0. It would have meant Gambit would have lost the streak, but it would have seen a red-haired Ocelot at CBET, and that would have been worth it, I think. Because he was bright red hair, but you may have also caught a glimpse of him in that little dance video we did where he had that fetching pink scarf that he actually...
Dance video?
Did you not see the start of the finals? Oh,
I'm
man,
sorry.
Josh. You really made that out. Jarrett Kale dancing, doing mad bromance on stage.
I had blocked that out of my memory, actually.
But you got to see Alex Lynch dancing. You got to see Ocelot dancing. There were so many StarCraft guys on there. It was League of Legends guys. Everybody. Alex Lynch actually came in on that day. That was the only reason he was in on the Saturday. He got there early in the morning. Bearing in mind it was 9:30 a.m. that we went live.
Wow.
So he got there at 8:30 a.m. The only person of Gambit in there. Nobody else was there. And he came in purely to do that dance. And then he just sat with CJ Enters for the rest of the day.
That's pretty cool.
Absorbing the Korean knowledge.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's trying to steal their thunder.
Steal their thunder.
Yeah.
He was sat with Cloud Templar all day. And, you know, it's funny every time I see these interviews that these guys do because, you know, I mention it because obviously I've spoken to the Gambit guys. Quite a few of them do speak English.
They speak English really well, and they type on Skype really well and stuff, but it's just the confidence isn't there yet for them.
They just don't want to do it on camera. But the same with CJ Enters. Cloud Templar, he speaks perfect English. Yeah, every time I see him interview, he's like got the Korean translator. I'm like, you speak better English than that translator. What are you doing?
Well, it was just like when Diamond Prox does interviews, Alex translates for him.
Yeah.
And when Alex translates for him, Diamond Prox always smiles when he like changes something mean that he said. He's like, you're not saying that. It's like, why don't you just say it yourself?
Say what you mean. But anyway, you've heard enough about what the hell we're talking about. I don't know where we're going with that, but let's check out what these teams think rather than us.
SK Gaming is a really pretty strong team for me. They play aggressive on every lane. So I think AAA is a team that is really hard to beat, actually.
So if we want to win against SK, we have to control Ocelot and we have to do a way better job around jungle and around buffs.
When AAA is behind, Nono can pull out some weird stuff that can make them come back or stay in the game. I like their playstyle. I like to play against them.
A little grin from Oslo. I always see that. I always see it every time we get on the analysis desk. He's like, you see him just checking
He
out.
checks his hair in the
himself
program monitor.
To the program monitor. He's like, how you doing? In case you're unsure, there is a screen right here. You can see this little black line. That's me seeing myself. So every time you see me go down, I'm going, hey, you doing? That's what Ocelot does pretty much all the time.
He cares about his appearance. I don't think that's a problem. He's one of the pro players who always goes back for makeup before the days. I don't know if I just spoiled it.
I just saw all the Dragonborns getting makeup before that game as well, and I'm pretty sure EG did as well. I think everybody does these days.
Yeah.
These players, you know, they've adapted. Like when they first came in, they're like, "Ooh, makeup, I'm a man." But now they're just like, as soon as they come in, they've seen themselves on the screen and go, "Holy cow, give me makeup!"
Why don't I get a little makeup? I can cover up that thing, and they're like, "Okay, I think that's a good idea."
Get it on me now. Where's that lady? Poor Daddy. She has to run around the entire department. But nevertheless, enough talk about our makeup lady. Let's talk about the game.
Yes.
SK Gaming versus Against All Authority. What are we thinking in bands?
Finally back on topic here. I think that Ocelot wants to play something for the lane. I mean, I've been checking Against All Authority, trying to find a pattern in the past few games they've been doing. Went back to Super Week. They played Poke Comp one game, then they played like Renekton Zin the next game, then they played a Kale composition. Like they're doing a bunch of different things, trying to find something that works for them. So I believe if SK wants to counter that, and specifically Ocelot, they just got to go generalist because Against All Authority doesn't really know.
And I should point out, the wink. The wink comes from Ocelot. Thank you very much. Ladies, you know, there's a couple of people just fainted, I think.
He just went
the
so
stream,
red in the face, I think he just realized what he's done.
He did that on purpose, absolutely. he actually, Herkybot did it in week 1, and he was so annoyed with Herkybot for stealing his thunder. He was like, right, I'm going to take the glass off. He literally went over to tell the cameraman, this is what I'm going to do. You need to keep that camera on me so I can do it. But nevertheless, I'm getting distracted by that wink, and who wouldn't, to be honest. But last Super Week, he was so passionate towards the end of that. You know, he'd had that game against Alex Ich in the mid, and he got destroyed by Alex. And he was really not happy with his performance. The game afterwards, he played brilliantly. And the interview we had with Shox, he was very passionate about that, you know, saying, I'm answering critics, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he really wants to try hard to prove, for some reason, whether it's to himself, to the rest of the world, whether the critics, but he wants to prove he is a very, very good mid laner. I mean, he's got to be.
Ocelot is a really good mid laner.
There's a confidence thing, though.
There's a reason that SK has been consistently built around Ocelot for so long, and it's not just because he's popular and a good figure and stuff. It's because he's good at League of Legends, right? Like, he wins his lane oftentimes. He's got so many highlights when he's on his game. It's just the consistency that he has to work on, right? So you never really know which Ocelot's going to show up.
Just checking the chat. You can even see the grins on Nono's face. There's a bit of banter going between the players right now in the chat, so they're having a good play around. They just said himself. I swear to God, Nono, he's always grinning. He's always got that happy smile on his face. He's one of the happiest players, and even you just see him. I think it was Crepo just went and lifted him up. You know, he's just like, yeah, you can lift me up, sure.
Yeah, just because I can.
Yeah.
Crepo likes it.
It's the two short players of League of Legends.
Yeah, he's frustrated with all the really tall German women around here that he's like, I need someone small that I can lift up. So, oops, shouldn't have, went too far with that one, maybe, but I'm sorry.
Maybe he likes to lift the ladies, who knows? Anyway, we're going into the picks and bans in a moment. Candy Panda on your screen there. He's been Mr. Consistent, the top KDA in EU LCS right now, and actually somebody Gambit purposely focused to try and screw his KDA over so they could get Edward top.
These teams are really starting to game around the statistics, especially the ones that have the high ones. And I mean, the KDA, having the top KDA being to an AD carry is a very common thing. I mean, over in North America, COP is out of this world with a 15 or 16. Candy Panda is top, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like they're the most successful, they're the best AD carry. It speaks to their play style. Candy Panda is very conservative with his positioning on AD carry. He really sits in the back for a while in these team fights, and he's there to clean up, but he almost never dies, which is the biggest determining factor, since it's your kills plus assist divided by your deaths. So it's really all about how cautious you play.
So here we are, the bans coming in, and straight away SK Gaming taking away Renekton from Freddy122 and Orianna removed from Ocelot. So 2 targeted bans to begin with.
I don't think Freddy112 is ever going to get to play Renekton again.
No, right? I think it was like first 2 games.
Yeah, it's his main thing, and especially now that Renekton's becoming more of a mainstream pick as well, it's not even really like having to burn a target ban. Even though it is kind of a target ban, it's like, well, this is just a powerful champion that everyone's using, and we're used to using this ban strategy and get the right heroes out of the way.
So Shinzao and Kale also taken out. Kale very much being a targeted ban, as is Shinzao. I mean, these are 2 champions that we've seen pretty regularly banned out. Shen being taken away. And Vi.
I'm a little surprised to see the Vi ban, right? Like, Shushei did not that great with it last game. They really locked in the Jarvan right away. And here it is. Is this the jungle Taric? Might be a jungle or a top lane Taric.
You're excited, aren't you?
I did a little, little thing on the
I
desk.
thought for a moment now,
Yeah.
I thought I had Kobe 24 back next to me. It's like, woo!
It's like it's the jungle Sona and the Tarek's top lane. It's like, no, you shouldn't believe everything you
Cassidy
hear.
in the jungle. No, okay. But we are going to wait to see what SK Gaming. He gets the Ocelot immediately straight to that playbook that he has. What is he going with? Look at it. He's jotting down. People would pay good
He's
money
like
for that
live
playbook.
updates on. Well, those are like his pick ban history for AAA, which versus against All Authority, it's going to be all over the place. They pick different things almost all the time.
I've not
and
seen Nef on Thresh.
No, I don't think Nif has played much Thresh.
Easy for me to say.
He's usually sticking with Sona and Zyra, the supports with the huge AoE ultimates. So now he's going to have to land some of those big hooks, and then he'll be able to fly in with the box. But I wonder how that's going to work out. You look at AAA here, and they can go anywhere because, like we said way earlier, this is the patch that is on live. So Tarek has the changes in. Blade of the Rune King is hot fixed. Even though Tarek has the Smite icon selected right now, that could be a top lane Tarek. We could see mid lane Kha'Zix with Shleya. They have so many different things they could go with here.
Well, Nono's deciding. We know it's going to be Ezreal, Nono. Come on, stop delaying us. We know you only ever play Ezreal.
Yeah. They play Sona every time.
Sona, Corellius, and Ezreal. Nuno.
That's their lane. That is what they love doing. I mean, there's no reason for them to go against it. And watch Nono in this game on Ezreal, how crazy he is with his positioning. And this is a trait that a lot of Ezreal players get into because they can get out of jail with Arcane Shift so often. They put themselves as whoa, whoa, whoa. This is going to be even better because since he's used to playing Ezreal, he gets into bad positions. And if he doesn't have the Arcane Shift to get out of that, Vayne's just going to pop because you see this out of a lot of Ezreal players.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just like, I can be here as an AD carry. Oh, wait, I'm a different AD carry this time.
Yeah, it's not going to work. It's going to backfire. And there is Caitlyn Panda being selected. Looks like it's almost certainly going to go in there. Who's checking it? Well, it's Candy Panda. He hasn't even got his hand on his keyboard, so he's not changing. He's ready with that one. Thresh going to be joining him. Sounds that lane. Will they go 2v1? Or are they thinking, oh, well, if they're picking a Rumble, I think they're expecting a 2v1.
That's Elise mid. Ocelot's played a lot of AP Elise. That's actually the champion he was on when they got backdoored in Katowice. I just remember because that's such a memorable game.
Yeah, it was.
So Rumble, Kevin, consistency, try to get in on that. Jarvan jungle, very common for them. This is the kind of generalist, solid team comp you can see from SK that they're just kind of waiting for AAA to try to outplay them on. They have a nice mix of damage because they went double AP after the Tarek pick, which is a very common and smart thing to do. They're going to make sure that the armor aura doesn't just overpower them, and I like that.
Okay, and it's looking like a Carthus final pick in the mid lane. Waiting to see whether Corellius locks it in. He does.
So this is interesting because the last time AAA won a game in the LCS, they had Shleya on Kha'Zix in the top lane, and then they had Freddy, Elise in the mid. And here, the first trade has Shleya on Kha'Zix and Freddy on Karthus. So is Freddy now their mid laner? Like, is this what's happening? And Shleya is just going to go flying off to top. Do we have to update our graphics?
Did nobody tell us? Yeah, nobody tell us. Nobody told us. And nevertheless, we do have a dropout. So Freddy has dropped out. Obviously, couldn't switch out. So maybe
something happened.
Well, obviously, it was Freddy on the thing. I'm going to guess they were trying to switch, just as a guess, because maybe Freddy's like, nah, I really don't want to play Karthus. I'd much rather play the Flying Bug.
Yeah, well...
Is that the right phrase for Kha'Zix? Could I call him the Flying Bug?
You call him like a Rainbow Scyther.
A Rainbow Scyther. Wow. Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep, ladies and gentlemen. So there are the two teams setting themselves up. SK came in, of course, color coordinating with the color they're going to be playing today. Blue side. We have seen the blue side winning once today. Over at MLG Dallas, the North American League of Legends Championship Series. There is Candy's Panda on the desk. Actually, it's on Ocelot's desk. It is Candy Panda, though.
Yeah, and I've just heard word from our statistician Quickshot that in the qualifiers, Freddy112 went 1v2 Karthus bot lane.
But what did
when they were on the red
do?
side?
Ah. Yes, he did, actually.
Freddy 1v2? What about Freddy 122? Is that what you just...
His name is Freddy122, not Freddy112. Oh.
All right. Sure. Right. Just pick on the guy who just hasn't casted the EU LCS again.
I'm
like,
gonna
didn't have the name just right, man.
I'm going to have the same thing when I go to North America next week, so who knows. There is Kevin on your screen. One of the men we've been trying to get on the analysis desk, but he's very resistant right now. We're going to have to break him down, break down his barriers. There is Hercubot, who played Nasus for the very first time last Super Week. Actually, his first ever game. And we were talking about that, that game. And you were saying, look, Inasa's not really that difficult a champion. If you can kind of, you have to land a slow, you land a big hit.
Especially for the pro players,
yeah.
right? It's the fact that there's these super technically complex champions like Elise, where you have 7 spells and different cooldowns to manage and all these crazy skill shots and stuff. And you look at Nasus, and it's like, if you are a pro and you know the fundamentals of the game very well, Nasus is really just all about positioning and judging, because you walk into people, you slow them from range, you Q things, and you put down a giant circle that's an instant cast, right? Like, it's not a super complicated thing to pull off, but it's really all about just your execution.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick jungler these days as well, Nasus.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, right, Europe has been playing a lot of Nasus. North America's really not touched it, and Korea wasn't touching it either.
It's really just one of those things. I wonder if it's going to be a Volibear type thing, like everyone just follows what Diamond Prox does. And I have a sub theory on this one, actually.
Okay.
That Nasus and Volibear, specifically Nasus though, is also very successful because they're bringing Ghost out of the jungle. I feel like Ghost is a much better summoner spell than people are giving it credit for, and Gambit Gaming's the first one to realize it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Genja's been bringing Ghost Cleanse on his AD carries. So many things have these targeted leaps as well as a flash that the only way a jungler's actually going to be able to get a kill is if they ghost through, because that's the only way you can close the distance of a double gap closer. You get Ghost for so long, and it's so fast, and it's on a shorter cooldown than Flash, so you can over-gank people. Like, you Ghost one time, get a kill through a Flash, then your Ghost is up again way before their Flash is.
And they're just trying to see how big they can get him as well, because obviously he uses ultimate. They put the wild growth on him while he's ghosting through. He's just an enormous big dog.
Slowing people. Giant
Slowing-
dog.
giant
like a
dog
Saint
slowing
Bernard,
people.
as you'd like to say.
St. Bernard.
Yeah.
If you go American. St. Bernard is the correct term, ladies and gentlemen, if you are from England.
Or the proper way of saying it.
No, that is the proper way. The Queen's English, as spoken.
The only English that matters.
This is the only English right now. There is Virtual on your screen. What is he going to change? Is he going to evolve? He was a man that came into it really late on for Against All Authority in the qualifiers, having to replace Linak, and really has stepped up to the plate. But the question is, now he's in the big time. Can he just go that little bit further?
I missed the name at the start
Virtual.
of that. Virtual, yes. That's true. He hasn't had much experience, right? He's the newest member of Against All Authority, so he's the one that's had to adapt the most, and he's got the jungle Taric, which is going to be the exciting thing. This is the first jungle Taric we're going to get to see
in the LCS.
I don't think it got played at all during MLG last night. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of it, personally. Yes. I know that it gets a lot of play in a lot of places, and it's very, very good. It's just the ganks are extremely strong, and then the auras he brings in a team fight, since the jungle Taric can build the armor to get the armor aura more powerful, is just really strong.
The thing is, this is actually a champion I kind of expected Fnatic to bring out, because the very day of 3.03 being released, we had N-Rated here on the analysis desk, and he was bursting to tell me about Taric and like how he can be just so strong in the jungle or the top lane.
Yeah.
So whether that's Soaz or Cyanide going, ooh,
well,
or
the thing is,
Fnatic likes to be, N-Rated likes to theorycraft a lot.
And, I mean, he's the one who does Blitzcrank in the top lane. He picks up champions so ridiculously quickly in the top lane. Fnatic is probably going to play it too, right? We just haven't seen it yet. AAA is the first ones to pick it up. Yeah, maybe. We don't want to give away too much. We can't spoil the future, fortunately, because we don't know what's going to happen yet. But I think it's going to happen.
But you do have a crystal ball with you. It did get through customs, didn't it?
Yeah, so they're going to play it.
We are just waiting. They've actually dropped out of Picks and Bans twice, so we're just not sure why, but they have the
we will be
you,
in
I guess.
soon.
Soon. You can see it on their screens. You can see it on Candy Banner's screen. It is just loading right now, and that's his... looks like some sort of communications in the background, and there is all the microphones so you can hear these players now and again. No, settling himself up with their 3 headsets on. Of course, they have the in-ear, the in-bud ear system so they can hear the communications. The microphone around the neck, which is generally their sponsor for some reason. And, of course, great big headsets, which are pretty much helicopter headsets, I believe.
Noise cancelers right there.
Straight noise cancelers so they can shut me and Jet basically out.
Yep. Yeah. That's pretty much the whole reason for it.
The players hate us that much that they have to put these huge headsets on. That's basically the
It might have something to do with like giving away strategy and positioning or something, but it's mostly
because they hate us.
The annoyance.
That's a lie, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, they all love us. We are going into the game. You can see it on their screens, and we will have it on our screens in a moment. It is going to be SK Gaming as the blue team, and the red team will be Against All Authority. Good luck, have fun. Trading between the two teams, and here we go. So what are we expecting, Jack? What are we seeing?
So the first thing I see is double red elixirs on SK Gaming. They got one on Kevin for Rumble and Jarvan, Ocelot, who we didn't notice this in the picks and bans because we're off on all these kinds of channels. Ocelot's mid with Jarvan, and it's a jungle Elise.
What?
They did a lot of swapping and stuff, and it is Freddy on Karthus, as well as Schleia on Kha'Zix, so
Holy
a lot of
moly.
things are about to happen. Holy moly is right.
Yeah, this is very new territory for many different champions right now. I have never, ever seen Ocelot playing that. I'm sure the hundreds of thousands of you that do watch Ocelot stream are probably going to go, but he plays this all the time. Well, unfortunately, I don't get a chance to watch all of the streams. There is quite a lot that happens during a week here. We do see some good dancing from a pink Jarvan. Pink Jarvan? It's a pink Taric of the 5th, Armor of the 5th Age. Good lord, that's easy for me to say.
Very easy for you to say. And look at this, 3 wards from SK, just the one from Against All Authority, but SK's not doing anything aggressive, so that's actually, if you think of it, now 4 wards from SK, 225 gold, really, devoted just for that early vision. So if they don't get anything out of that, that's about half a kill of wards they actually just placed down on the map.
So as it stands, we are possibly going to see Schleia. Where is Schleia going? Is he going to be bottom lane?
It's going 1v2 bot.
I think it's going to be, yeah, Freddy went. So as you mentioned, have they made a switch, and we
Freddy's mid lane.
and not told us and basically said, yeah, Freddy is now our mid laner. This seems to be working for us well.
Well, a lot of the teams that go up against All Authority say that Freddy is pretty much their strongest player, right?
Yes.
And teams that are struggling like to have a huge presence in the mid lane to try to pick everything else up. So maybe that's a good sign.
Maybe it seems to be working. So we'll see how Karthus versus Jarvan works out in this mid lane. Down the bottom, it is going to be Schleia, the normal mid laner, on Kha'Zix versus a Thresh and Caitlyn. And the top lane looking like it's going to be Rumble versus Vayne and Sona.
So the first thing I think is going to happen in this game, they're going to try to deny Kevin for quite a while. Taric's going to come around with double buffs, and they're going to try for a gank. But because of that, Hercubot started at the red buff with his jungle Elise, so he'll be there to meet that pressure. With the way the junglers are going here, Hercubot picking up this blue buff, Virtual picking up the red buff. Kevin did start with a red elixir, so he's have a pretty good chance of sorting this gank out. We'll see what ends up happening here.
Okay, so the Taric jungle is something the guys in the solo queue may well have seen a lot of, but we haven't seen much of at all on stream. Take us through, what were they normally going to level through on this one? How is he going to go? They
pretty much still max the Shatter first. It clears the whole camp. They generally rely on Madrid's Razor to just auto-attack the camps down. They go attack speed rune, so they actually clear fairly well. It's not the fastest jungler, but it's just the fact that it's a Taric with a targeted stun coming out of the jungle. He can heal himself. He doesn't need to get health potions after the first run with his Butcher's Blade. That's why it's good.
Well, the hook lands on towards Schleia there, forces him back. Piltover just missed out with the Ignite, was used up, and it's taken him incredibly low, and that is the turret already gone down in that top lane. The pressure in the top lane is enormous.
No, that was a turret
a turret kill.
Down
what the hell?
I was
actually looking at it and seeing red. I was thinking, is that the turret just... No, the turret's...
Yeah, so he took too many turret hits, and Schleia was not able to get any damage down on him, so he just ended up getting executed.
Yeah, confusing myself there because I wasn't expecting a pro player to do that. I just assumed the turret in the top lane had gone down when I saw the turret sign. I thought that was pretty quick. But no, it was not.
No, he held it off at that point, but Candy Bandit didn't really get charged farm for that. He's at 20 minion kills. He's the 4th one down. So unfortunately, we still do have this bug on you guys. But here comes a gank in the
And that's going to be landing. It's Hercubot though. Freddy's going to put the aggression back down on him. He's still keeping the layways going. Flashes finally tried to hold out for the last minute there, but he did need to use it. And Hercubot putting the pressure down on mid lane.
Yeah, so that gank burning the flash, and that's going to be really tough for Freddy. He does have the exhaust for the next time they go aggressive on it, but Ocelot should be trying to punish Freddy pretty heavily there.
So we'll see whether Nif does manage to land any more of those hooks. The pressure continuing on this bottom lane from Candy Pana. How are they looking? 28 to 30 CS between the two AD carries. And the top lane, or solo lane, is 14 to 24. That's a big difference already.
Yeah, but SK wants to finish off this turret. It's a 3-for-1 stack, and Schleia pretty much just has to give up this turret entirely. But Virtual has not been anywhere around on Taric yet, so the turret that Kevin is holding really hasn't taken much damage. This is a big advantage for SK.
But what I should also point out as well, we are going to see potential potential gank of the top. In fact, we almost certainly will see it. And as you mentioned, that targeted stun, it's the easiest stun to land. You click and press on someone.
So really, SK is accepting his fate here. Kevin's got to get out of here before they can sell him and give up his turret, because there's first blood. They're going to get 2 turrets out of this.
They keep pushing here, and the SK Gaming are on towards his bottom turret. Meanwhile, the top turret has got pressured, and well, Kevin has backed away from that one. Virtual's come around, so they're going to keep on pushing that lane. Freddy was about to go across, but they are going to lose that inner turret. There's nothing they can do about it, so they are going to lose 1 turret in this effective race down the side lanes.
Yeah, that is a bad trade for Against All Authority. This is what we saw last game, but flipped. You know, the 2 turrets for the 1 turret flipped. Dragonborn's got the 2 turrets and then couldn't hold. But because SK did this on the blue side, after taking power through the top lane, they're going to get a dragon out of it too. And now it's all going to be about whether Kevin can hold off the 3-man push in the top lane. I think Ocelot should go help him and save this turret, but we'll see what happens.
And it's looking like it's going to be that. Now we do see Ocelot is thinking about coming around the side there, but Kevin's reported that they have indeed backed away, so Ocelot continues the farm. 43 CS to 43, effectively the 2 mid laners, but Schleyer off in that side lane has done a very good job at keeping that farm going with 26 to 23, the 2 side laners.
Yeah.
Are we going to call them the side laners?
Calling
because
them side laners.
Then really the positions change a lot. Freddy getting caught by Ocelot there. And Ocelot doing a very good job here in the mid lane against Freddy.
He's really just bullying him around. They got the gank that came in early from Hercubot, which burned Freddy's flash, and Ocelot has been able to just keep him at his turret. And Freddy's missed a fair amount of minion kills for a Karthus, right? He's only down 6 to Ocelot, but the fact that Ocelot has just been able to stand there and auto attack, melee versus ranged, shows how well Jarvan's been doing.
Yeah, I should point out, you can't make it out on the screen, but the 53 in the mid for SK. Meanwhile, the 49, which has just been moved to the middle by our cameraman, is indeed Freddy.
Yeah, sorry about this, guys. So the way the sides work, since we don't have the pictures because of this unfortunate thing that's happened, it's always top laner, then jungler, then mid laner, then AD, then support. So if you can follow that at some point throughout the game, that might help a little bit.
Yeah, it's also confused us because we have Freddy 1-2-2 as the side lane, so the cameraman's just having extra work for this match, so we'll give him a little bit of a leeway. As it stands, Candy Panda has moved in towards this mid lane along with Nif. They are 2-1 up in turrets. That does obviously give them that gold advantage. They did pick up the dragon. We see the blue buff going to Freddy 1-2-2 here, but can they afford to try and dazzle around here? Because we do see Nif. He thought about coming across to get the steal. They were still trying to go for it.
And SK might try to get the hook onto Freddy, but he's still in trouble. He might have to flash away.
The cocoon comes in there, and there's the Piltover landing as well. Freddy Ace in the hole's going to come through. It's Nif that actually picked up the kill. Hercubot taking the damage. Requiem's going to come out, but they should be safe from this one. Repels away from the damage.
Did he repel? Yeah, I didn't know you could repel away from that damage. I had to check. There's confirmation as they dive top.
And there's going to be Ocelot jumping in there on towards Nono. The Ignite is burning. One more hit should do it. Can he come around, get that Dragon Strike in? That's all he wants to do. Misses out the Dragon Strike.
But Nono still in a bit of trouble. Ocelot's out of mana, though, so he's going to have to fall back. I love how much pressure SK Gaming is putting on Against All Authority right now. AAA is right on their back foot, and this is SK's team play and all the practice Ocelot was talking about earlier just coming in. They're forcing the pressure so much, and Against All Authority has no answer yet.
Corellius getting pulled in, just a straight Piltover coming across him. Virtual taking down the red buff. Hercubot actually around taking that blue down, so they're keeping the blue on towards the spider and jungle.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. Ocelot doesn't necessarily need it, but look at this top lane interaction. Kevin is between 2 members of Against All Authority, but they just do not have the ability to turn it on him.
Well, Kevin thinking about going for this one. He does have Schleyer nearby, so he has to be a little bit cautious as he tries to make this approach. Now he's got freedom. He sees him in the mid lane. He comes around and gets the flame spitter going on towards Freddy. He actually lands the equalizer down there. Does manage to miss one of the harpoons, puts the ignite down and realizes this is not a close fight. Suddenly he's losing out. He's going to flash for it. Can he get the layways down? Harpoon comes in. No, he still can't get the damage down.
Yeah, and still 70 seconds left on Freddy's Karthus ultimate, so they both just decide to walk away. That's actually a win for Freddy, because the entire Rumble ultimate was burned during that exchange. Overall, though, that's still way too much pressure for AAA or Against All Authority to deal with, as this mid turret is continually being assaulted.
Yeah, Schleier's trying to keep them back with them Void Spikes. Corellius helping out, but already down half the hit points on that, and Ocelot's still keeping the pressure on towards Nono in that top lane, looking like he's maybe going to go towards the golems, and look at this, he's coming around the backside. Can he dive on towards Nono? It's a dangerous, dangerous thing, especially that close to the wall.
Yeah, and Vayne with ult and flash.
pinging him.
Ocelot can't do much. They spotted him out. Telling her to be careful.
They know he's there, and there is Ocelot coming back around. Mid lane, look at this turret, almost down. The hook landed on towards Virtual, but is it the one you want to pull in? I'm not too sure. Nif has to pull the box down. Flash is out of it. The Ignite is on him. He's going to try and shield this one out. He has got away from this one. Requiem is available. It should finish off the kill. Slayer does manage to take down Hercubot as well. Is he going to pop the Requiem? Is he going to go for it? He could get a free kill, but I think he's left it too late.
It still needed a couple seconds on the Requiem cooldown. Now it's off, but Nif is back in base. I don't think he's going to pull the trigger. It's a good thing if Freddy saves that one. He realized that he would be back in base. They did finally turn around something very slight in that one, right? A 4 for 3. They're going to be able to get this one out, but the pressure, I feel, is really immense for them right now. AAA has to stall for the late game. They're like Vayne, Kha'Zix, Karthus would be good in the late game, but the fact that Virtual on the jungle Taric hasn't really made a presence yet. Like when I've seen jungle Taric work, D-Man, it's almost like turning another lane into a 2v1. He camps top lane brushes, he ganks mid a whole bunch, but really all Virtual's been doing this far is just farming.
He's been farming because the rest of his team has just fell behind in all the lanes, it seems. He's not really having any chance to do anything different. Slayer has started to come into this one. He has got that Brutalizer, he has got the Tear of the Goddess, so it's going to start causing problems, you feel. Slayer finally going to get back into this one. Top lane, very low. Ocelot's been up here a very long time, and farming-wise, has gained that advantage. 103, 108 CS as he just wipes out with a big dragon strike through the middle there. We do it against 92 of Freddy122, who has been a little bit busy.
Freddy112 has been a little busy farming those lanes. I think that's what you said. Nope, not what you said. Shaking his head.
Freddy122. Damn you, he was even on my screen.
Freddy122, I mean, maybe he's just going to change. He's a mid laner
Damn
now.
them numbers.
So he's in the one lane. Nah, I can't save it.
I can't save it. It does mean the middle turret goes down and the hook lands again. It's Corellius that gets pulled in, but the Piltover didn't quite land on him, and they're going to turn a burn towards the dragon who just spawned.
And they are on top of pink wards, but they don't care. They're clearing the ward from Against All Authority. AAA all trying to run down. This could be our first 5v5 fight. The gold is actually pretty heavily in SK's favor right now. Sunfire Cape on Ocelot means he's very strong for this next fight, but no magic resist. SK really wants to fight here. I wonder if AAA can fight them back. All ultimates are up on both sides.
Candy Panda is actually out of position here. I think he's going to maybe know to kill, but now no, it looks like Against All Authority have just backed off.
They're really trying to play the slow game here. That's now a 3,000 gold disadvantage because they've already lost their outer turrets here. They can't control their blue either. If they don't fight for the dragon, they better not fight for their blue.
You can see the Demacia standard goes down. Pop a ward in there. Slayer is just off the side. He wants to try and void spike it out. They want to make sure they don't lose out this blue buff. So, as you mentioned, they are going to force it. They are still all around there.
There they go.
They're going to dive in as Demacia standard diving in. Equalizer pops across. Freddy122 drops instantaneously. There's going to be Ocelot. Is the Requiem going to be enough? He may well pick up one kill. Should he get the second? No, because he got interrupted, I feel. And now Nif in trouble. He's going to have to try and get away. Demacia strike away from Ocelot. He turns it around, tries to hook it. Oh, he tried to get the kill on towards Corellius, put the Ignite down, but it wasn't enough. And that was a good turnaround from Against All Authority.
That was a great fight for them. The fact that Freddy122 was the first one to get bursted down in that fight, everyone got stuck on his Defile that fight. So maybe the fact that they fought for their blue instead of the dragon was very smart, because that's a much bigger choke, and no one could avoid Karthus once he went down. Good fight for them. Gold's like 2,000 away, and the fact that they got the double kill on Janono's Vayne is also great for them.
So Candy Panda back in this mid lane, protecting it away from Slayer, trying to keep him off. So look at these differences though. We've talked about how Mr. Consistent Kevin has been so great, but look how far behind he is. 55 CS to 106, that's huge.
And it's strange because Slayer lost 2 turrets right at the start of the game, but he's been able to farm out so much from them. Kevin, meanwhile, has spent most of his time trying to pick up kills in strange places, so he hasn't been focusing very much on farming, and he might get stunned into a wall. Flash.
The ulti comes out from No. He's going to chase this one through, and it's going to be the overheat from Kevin. He could just pin him on the wall here. One more shot. Yes, he does. Tucks the barrier up, and he takes him down in a straight-up 1v1. The hook on Slayer, meanwhile, in the top lane. Is also going to be able to drive this one through. No, Slayer just jumps away, pops the void spikes, and says, get the hell away from me.
So No made the big play. Nif have tried to answer it in the top lane, but they might get the turret out of this one. Corellius down bottom trying to deal with Hercubot as well, so a lot of poking going on up top, but this could be turret number 4 for SK.
So Vayne at 3-0 has got that Blade of the Rune King in Dawn Space, still not gone for the boots. This is something we've seen a lot of from Against All Authority.
It's the strange thing, they play on their back foot so much as, wow.
Wow, Corellius, is he going to get away from it? I think he might do. The dazzle comes out, no, Demasius down and catches him out. They're diving towards Virtual, but they're not going to tower dive this one. Freddy122 is coming up the river, and we do have Slayer coming in.
Yeah, but Freddy122, I think you just said 112.
No, I didn't.
I think you just said it.
Like,
No, watch the VOD. No, but Freddy122 got seen by the ward coming up here, and it's a good thing he didn't go in because I feel like that would have been suicide. The no boots, getting back to that, AAA plays on their back foot so much, they don't really take advantage of the move speed, right? They're sitting back and trying to farm. That's one of the reasons, really, that No, I was going to make a point. It's not there. I was going to say that No has been able to outfarm Candy Panda, but that just hasn't been the case.
it just hasn't been the case, but I think Gold probably is just edging him, maybe ever so slightly. We did see the Infinity Edge coming out from Candy Panda. Another BF sword picked up. I guess that maybe the Bloodthirster is probably going to go to No there. Rather than picking up the boots, though, Berserker Greaves, which he could have gone with, preferred to happily go for another big damage item.
I'm thinking No might just be going for an Infinity Edge with that one, and if he picked up the BF sword, it was because of the gold breakpoint. He doesn't have, it's not every day you go back to base with 1,500 gold.
Yeah.
Or 1,450 gold, which is how much a BF sword is. So he'll be getting his boots soon, and Candy Panda is up about 500 gold on him, but he's just free farming a little bit with Vayne. Against All Authority, even though it seems like they're playing a little bit scared, pick that one fight well, and they know what they're doing, it seems, in this game. They are stalling for a late game push. It will be on SK to aggress.
We see the lantern thrown out. We do see Ocelot pulling back on there, looking like a masquerade ball coming out for SK Gaming as those two Haunting guys and Sorcerer's Shoes have been bought out by Hercubot and Kevin. Maybe they're going to have a little dance later on.
They are just going for the Magic Pen and the AAP right now. The interesting thing about this is in the picks and bans, before SK decided to swap Jarvan into the middle and Elise into the jungle, is it was more of a AAP competition than it is now. Hercubot's not going to get nearly as much farm on Elise in the jungle as Ocelot would have gotten with Elise in the mid lane. So the Taric pick actually becomes better in that situation because he's going to be blocking more of Ocelot's primary team damage.
Well, Against All Authority, looking like they're feeling confident here. They have that 5-4 kill advantage. They are 4-1 down in turrets, but despite that massive turret disadvantage, they are very close in gold.
Yeah.
Just 1,000, 2,000 between the two.
A lot of that is just the 60 minions that Schleia is ahead of Kevin with. His Kha'Zix is farming up a storm with his Evolved Void Spikes, and it does look like Against All Authority is finally putting some pressure back on. They don't actually need to do this. They're comfortable sitting here and farming. They're hoping SK overcommits them to fight again, and they can catch them in Freddy122's defile.
Well, Schleia was about to head off down south, but they wards kind of showed his position there, and SK came well aware of the fact that he has come back 40 seconds before the Dragon is about to be up. There's a big wave on that top lane that I feel Against All Authorities might want to go deal with. Freddy is going to head up that way, so we do see Against All Authorities backing off here. They have 30 seconds to react to this Dragon, though.
Yeah, they're going to have to go up there really fast. You can see they're all going back to base as well. They're hoping that SK doesn't peel for it immediately. But in the process of everyone prepping for that potential Dragon fight, they might give up a window to their own middle turret, which they have to be extremely careful of.
SK Gaming do look like they want to try and create something here. They have the Super Wave coming in. The Super Wave, it's just a minion wave. It's nothing super about it. Virtual does come straight through. Dazzles on Lantern has been pulled out. Candy Panda with a couple of shots, but Against Authority successfully defend out that wave, and now the Dragon has spawned.
And they're in position to contest it if they so choose. The only issue here is they don't have vision of the Dragon area. SK is much more warded. They saw the ward just get placed down in there, so SK has vision of the vision until they kill it with Nif's Oracle. So complete vision denial here, and they're hoping Against All 30 goes in, but now AAA's got the turret.
No doing the damage on the turret. The hook lands on towards Freddy122, but that's pulling him into the team. The Defile is in there. He gets bounced up. If he just flashes into the team, he's going to get on everyone. Defile down. They're going to have to evacuate here. You can see Against All Authorities. Oh, Candy Panda's gone down. Kevin and Nif very, very low here, just off the side. No's trying to get a shot on towards him. The Cocoon comes across. Nif with that Oracle has backed away, but it was a 3-for-2 to SK Gaming.
Ooh, super close fight there. No went around the other side of the Wraith Brush, so they weren't comboed with Freddy and Vayne in the same spot. a small win for SK, but that was a very dangerous fight. The fact that Vayne is now 4-0 cannot bode well for SK. Ocelot won't be able to dive and kill him at the end of the game if he gets too fed on Vayne.
No, I feel they could have maybe gone and tried to solo out that Dragon between the two of them. I feel the duo lane maybe went for it because they sent SK back very low on health.
And especially with the Blade of the Ruined King, it was taken down in the hotfix, but it still does 60 extra damage a hit on every attack to the Dragon, as long as it's not too low because of the current health proc on that item. So they probably would have been able to get that, but Nono was more interested in getting this top wave of farm. Like individually for the Vayne, that double or triple wave up top is going to give him close to like 600 gold. The team gold from the Dragon would be 975, but Nono's more concerned with just getting big on Vayne.
And he's going to have to get that top wave very quick and run straight down towards this Dragon, because you can see SK Gaming immediately responding, getting straight back in now. That Oracle on there, if they're going to clear out the ward that we just saw Virtual putting down in there. And Against All Authorities are a long way from this.
There's no way Against All Authority is contesting this. They pretty much sealed the fate as soon as Nono went to clear the top wave. They said, that Dragon's gone. We did lose a fight. We have to give up that objective. And it might be turtle time for them again. They tried a little bit of aggression. They realized it wasn't quite working. Ace in the hole flies out and hits Freddy, but it's turtle time again for Against All 30, and SK has shown that they can't really push through unless they get something miraculous.
Oh, like that! The hook lands on towards Freddy. He's going to pull him in. Second very low, but he didn't get dropped. The crescendo wasn't available yet from Corellius. It's going to be up in a moment, but Freddy 1-2-2 has been sent packing. He's going to go back to his base, but that is another wave cleared out, and SK Gaming trying to push in. Nono picking up the red buff, desperately trying to get in there. Once he gets that red buff in, I feel they may well engage. Crescendo is up in a couple of seconds. We may see some sort of engagement coming out from Against Authority.
I gotta say though, Nono has to shop. He's on 2,500 gold right now. Candy Panda has the Infinity Edge and the Zeal, so he is much more efficient with his gold right now. Against Authority has to find a way out of this pressure. They lose the turret, they can't engage. And
they do pull in Corellius, but it does mean the rest of SK back off with a successful hit and run, taking down that inner turret, taking them to 5-2 in turrets, and you do see him go back straight away. Infinity Edge, Blade of the Ruined King, and some little boots.
25 movement speed. He's got the boots on 1 foot right now. Needs to get the second pair if he wants to run real fast. Don't do that. Don't budge your boots. But Against Authority, gonna try a bit of a counter push now. They need to start getting some turrets back. The fact that they're down 5-2 does not bode well for them. They are powering up a little bit. They need to get an Aegis of the Legion completed onto Taric so they can start really auraing up. But if Nono stays safe in fights and Freddy positions in the right spots, that 3,000 gold advantage will mean very little for SK come teamfight time.
We are seeing the damage item starting to be picked up by Slayer as well. He's got himself the BF sword, that hex drink he had early on with the Brutalizer. Now with that BF sword. Could be a potential gank here on Nif. They do manage to get the Wall of Pain down and a quick leg waste, but not enough to do the damage. It just shields himself out there. They were trying to pull something out, but Nif quickly pulled out the danger.
Yeah, I thought Nif was going to be walking more towards the banana brush there over on the left, but he decided to ward over the top, only getting spotted by the Wall of Pain from Karthus. And here we have Against All 30. I think they're still waiting on items. They really want to pick up more farm. They're channeling so much of it just into their solos. It seems like Virtual's pretty much stopped farming, which is really delaying their Aegis of Legion, which they need quite badly to deal with the Rumble and Elise damage, but they got a lot of time. SK's already taken down most of the turrets that are attractive or easy to take down, so unless SK starts forcing and pressuring around the Baron, Against All Authority's not going to move.
So, as we see the game starting to slowly pon in towards the end game, 23 minutes in, Static Shift just being picked up. Who is going to really benefit if this game goes long?
I think it's Against All Authority. I mean, the fact that they have the Karthus sitting in the middle of the team and the dive that SK has to get onto Vayne is Jarvan and Elise. Elise coming out of the jungle, going defensive with an Aegis of the Legion, tells me that Nono would be able to take both of them on in an ideal scenario once he gets his items. Whether that happens or not, whether Nono has the Vayne mechanics that everyone talks about, since he's normally an Ezreal player, is yet to be seen. But if the game keeps stretching, I feel like Against All 30 will have it.
Well, as it stands, SK Gaming have kind of shown their hand here. Kevin was up the top lane farming out. They saw that Nif and Ocelot were going up towards their own jungle. They've all passed the wards, and you can see Against All Authority saying, yeah, we're going to go straight down your mid lane. You've only got 3 members here. Don't feel you can defend this one out there. Oh, Corellius, I tell you what, he could have flash ulted down. He would have caught 3 of them dancing away. I'm not too sure if the rest of the team would have reacted, though. Just in simple reaction speeds, and sometimes you see those support players and their team cooperating with Don't know whether it's quite there with Against All Authority yet, but they are taking SK Gaming for a run for their money. This is probably the closest I've seen these two teams go.
There's the stun onto Virtual. Will SK try to go in off it, or is it a counter engage?
Is it going to be a counter? It's not really the person you want to go for. There's Freddy immediately flashing in. He's going to land a Defile down. Wall of Pain. He does finally get dropped, and the Defile is going to be enough. They're going in towards Ocelot. No is going to take him down. Slayer now jumps in. Can he get the reset? No, he can't. It was Kevin he wanted it, but immediately Candy Panda lays down the damage, and that was an even trade 2 for 2.
And look how low Nono got in this fight. He was sitting on top of the equalizer. He's at 80 health right now, and that's after regenning back up during the fight. The Ignite nearly ticked him down. That was just a fight that showed how close the game is, right? Both teams kind of just clashed into each other straight up. Came away with a 2 for 2. Freddy's gonna get his death cap pretty soon. Ocelot wasn't able to do much, despite being a mid lane Jarvan in that fight. He dove on Nono as pretty much his only task and couldn't even take him down with the Rumble ult assisting. So that would be setting off some warning signs for SK. I almost feel like they have to start doing something creative if they want to win this game.
So how do you feel with Jarvan's build? But bear in mind, he has been a mid lane Jarvan. Do you feel he needs to go a little bit more damage, a little bit more tanky? You can see he's obviously got the Warden Mail, the Sunfire Cape. He's going a little bit more tanky at the moment. He's only got the Brutalize in there really for major damage. Should he go for more damage, or should he be that tanky mid laner?
I think he really needs the Randwins, first off, to slow down Nono, getting the current health procs out of every hit from his Blade of the Ruin King.
Yep.
After that, he's got to go for damage. I think if Ocelot were to just think of the game again, realize Vayne will be powering up and the thing to worry about, and just restart, he wouldn't have went for the Sunfire Cape. The Sunfire Cape's more about just sitting in the team and being a giant over time thing, but he's actually got to burst down the Vayne at this point. So he does have to complete his Randwins, then he's got to get damage.
And that seems to be what he's doing with that Warden Mail on there. As it stands, we do see a Rabadon's Death Gap potentially coming out from Freddy very soon.
Yeah, he's got enough for it right now if he goes back in shops, but he's continuing his farm for other reasons. Maybe he's going for a DFG or something, I can't really be sure. Or they're just worried about the Baron pressure since they don't have many wards in the area aside from the one in the back of the pit.
I'm intrigued the fact that Nono, realizing that the boots aren't going to do a great deal. The fact that he's just gone straight for that Giant Spot, it's like, I'm going to get jumped on regardless. There's nothing I'm going to do, so I need something to just stay alive while I'm pounced on.
I think it's really smart. He knows he's the focus. He had enough for the Berserker's Greaves as well, but the Giant's Belt was, again, he's buying the most expensive item that he can at the time, and then he's finishing the small components later.
So the Dragon was picked up there again by SK Gaming. That does give them a bit more of a developed gold lead here. 40.4 to 37,000, so just a 3.5k lead as it stands, and the Oracle clearing out the Baron pit.
And here's the weirdest thing about this 3,500 gold advantage that SK has. If we look at the gold on Nif versus Corralius, it's a 2,000 gold difference. But you look at the items on Nif and Corralius, and until a second ago, Nif didn't have that Lock of the Iron Solari, so only now is that 2,000 gold advantage actually paying off for any items. Previously, they were all just sitting on Kindle Gems and Boots. It seemed like Nif was spending so much on wards, but he saved up enough to get the Lock of the Iron Solari, so finally, the gold advantage might be a bigger ploy.
Well, the Runic Bulwark also come out on Hercubot. Looks like the Runic Bulwark will come out for Virtual in a short while. Meanwhile, they're both teams making use of those oracles and clearing out what wards they can. Slayer's protecting the mid lane, acting as that human ward, just keeping them at bay. Hercubot seeing if he can land anything. A Wall of Pain does go down. It's Virtual they're going to focus on. Has to repel away. Where's he going to go to? He can only drop down straight back in the same position. Crescendo comes out. Hercubot is going to get dropped before the fight even begins. And now Freddy 122 pulled into the team there. Ocelot now gets the Cataclysm, lands on, hit and run. Gets out of there. Equalizer goes down. Oh, but you can see Slayer. He's jumping around. He did get the reset. He took down Candy Panda. Gets a double kill. His Nono comes in. Nono gets the triple kill. And that is an ace for Against All Authorities. They're going to go straight up mid. Are they going to go for the inhibitor, or are they going to go Baron?
Oh my god, that fight. They have time to get the turret and then the Baron if they decide to go for it. I didn't think that initiation was going to work for Against All Authority. Corralius hit his crescendo on one, but they killed Hercubot so fast. And then when Ocelot locked everyone in the Cataclysm with a Rumble ult straight on top of it, I was like, they're going to burst everyone down. But Schley was in the back line. The Karthus ult came out. Nono life stole enough with his Blade of the Ruin King and stayed alive because of his Giant Spell that they could finish off the end of that fight. And this is the stretched game that SK's got to be super scared of. Now that they're probably picking up a Baron for Against All Authority, it was even against Authority that forced that fight, so they're clearly now in the driver's seat.
Well, they hit and run on the Baron as well, and there it is. Hercubot's going to come in, realizes he's gone. Is he going to be able to try and steal anything away? And is spotted out by the wards, so against Authority, just play it a little bit safer. So, Gold, look at that. Bang on even between the two. 5-3 in turrets, but it's all against Authority now with it to lose, I think it's safe to say. With that Baron buff for the next 4 minutes, it is their game to play.
Yep, and the auras are starting to even out as well. Corralius got his lock into the Iron Solari. There's a Randwinds that just got completed onto Nono, so that's not going to be a fun time for Ocelot trying to dive on top of him. You can see he wasn't even sitting there to auto-attack. He was like, he ulted and was like, that guy's too scared. I got to get out of my ult right here. It didn't work out for them. And considering Against All Authority has been winning these fights while down in gold and without Baron buffs, the fact that they're even in gold and with a Baron buff is scary for SK.
And I gotta ask, the Threshhooks, they are landing on Freddy and they are killing him quick, but they're pulling him into the entire team with that Defile.
It's like, that's why Karthus and multiple huge threats on the team work so well, right? If you get to the late game spot, I thought, you know, Against All Authority has been trying many different team comps. We haven't seen like a super damaged high threat team comp from them yet, because those team comps are prone to falling behind early. They get out-aggressed very early, and they can very easily become useless. But Against All Authority has done a good enough job at playing conservatively, and SK has not punished them early on, that they're now doing whatever they want. And now that they've moved down for a red buff, SK thinking of running up top, but they've been spotted. SK's got to run.
Yeah, they are getting out of there. They realize that Against All Authorities have turned towards them. Now, AA, they could just push straight up the middle. Why not? They are stronger. They realize SK have got it back.
SK is all 5 going back to the base. How many of them are going to buy home guard boots and rush to try to stop this turret push? Because AAA is doing this without minions, so they are full taking the turret.
Home guard, home guard, home guard. Everybody quickly get in there, but it's going to be too late. Surely it's going to be the inhibitor going down. Ocelot puts the Demacia standard down, but he's like, I'm not thinking of diving into this one. It seems a little scary to go in on my own. But they do defend the turret. Only just though.
They got enough boots to guard their home, so to speak. That's 271 health left on that turret. That's a couple shots from Nono's Vayne. This is so tense. You can see Schleya off the screen on the minimap, wanting to jump in the back if SK does any kind of initiation. He's the one who's been deleting Candy Panda out of these games. Against All Authority just brute forces that turret down. And if SK wants to keep their inhibitor, they're going to have to deal with the fight.
They're going to have to go for it. A good equalizer, I feel, may well catch them in the right place. It's Virtual they land the cocoon onto. Not really the ideal one. Nif winding up for a hook there, but didn't go for it. And Against All Authorities, they are just going to hit and run, go down bottom, clear out the 2 top and bottom lanes. And I think they're going to be happy with their work.
Yeah, and look at the giant minion stack up top for Against All Authority. They need to send someone up there pretty quick. It's going to be a farm out for them right now. They got a minute left on their Baron buff. They just took all the advantages they really wanted. They're going to have that inhibitor for quite some time now. No, they're not going to shop yet. Everyone on their team is sitting on 1,400, 1,200, 1,700, 900, and 700 gold from top to bottom. So that's at least 7,000 gold they're just sitting on. So they're really relying on the last bit of this Baron buff to dissuade SK from fighting them.
And that is going to be another turret going down. So that's an in, and that's actually going to give Against All Authorities the turret lead for the first time in this game. 6-5 up, and that does take the gold, of course, a 4,000 gold advantage now for Against All Authorities. They're ahead in kills, they're ahead in turrets, and that 7-0-2 Vayne is a scary thing. But more importantly for Candy Panda, that 3-2-9 Infinity Edge, Schleya, is a very scary thing.
They can't deal with it, and AAA tried a little bit of a sneaky ploy there. They were hoping the Candy Pen would go out and farm the lane, since of course they're going to back up, but the ploy does not work. Freddy cleans up the dragon, and this is Against All Authority's slow play moment. They don't have to do anything to really win this game. They just have to make sure they don't get caught out of position. They have to make sure they stay grouped up. Nono is so strong on Vayne. He's proving me wrong. I mean, I thought an Ezreal-only player hopping onto Vayne could be a bit of a disaster, like it's asking for trouble, but he's done a great job at just dealing with Ocelot, dealing with the Rumble ults that get thrown on him, positioning in the right places, and building really smart items for the situations that it's worked out extremely well for him.
I feel like Freddy 122 is going to get a little bit closer to the screen there. You can see him on your red camera box. Oh, and he just stretches back. He's like just chilling. I got this covered. I'm going back to base. What am I going to buy?
I mean, Karthus just has to press E, flash in, I mean, this is the criticisms of Karthus. It's like, you just got to flash in and press R, right? There's clearly more to it, as he's had to survive a lane against Jarvan. Now up 80 minion kills on Ocelot, and stacking out his items. He's built a Rylai's right now as well, instead of a Void Staff, which is what I thought he'd be going for. We'll see how that plays in team fights. He's going to flash straight in and then hopefully help them chase people down. See how that works.
And there's Schleier's Manamune just converting into the Muramana. So Last Whisper also picked up by Candy Panda, but I feel the damage spike from Schleier is pretty huge right now. Oh, there's only 2 or 3 of them here, and look at this, Schleier. You can see his mouth's watering, my mouth's watering, that's the question. But he's gonna get caught out here. He's gonna have to jump away, but the ace in the hole comes out. The ultimate there was picked up. I think he went for that. Oh, the equalizer tried to pick him off. They are effectively gonna have a 4v5 fight here. Is it the right situation?
They hook him.
Oh, the hook on towards Freddy. They're gonna pull him in, pop the exhaust down, they pull him straight in there. Now they're gonna try and turn it around. It's gonna be the ultimate, the Requiem's gonna go down. Ocelot's gonna get dropped by that one. The damage comes out. Schleier, meanwhile, trying to pounce. Nono has used his ultimate there. Nif seeing if he can land another hook. It's currently a 1-for-1.
That was about as many good things that could happen for SK in a fight to only come out with a 1-for-1. They traded mid laner for a mid laner at the end of it, and they got another kill onto Freddy 1-1-1-2-2. So we'll see how that works out. They didn't really gain anything, despite everything going their way. That's a really good sign for Against All Authority.
While this is happening, Candy Panda is building up a massive CS lead now because he's had them super minions coming down the mid lane. He's clearing out this giant wave along the bottom, and you can see he's getting stronger. He's getting beastly. Is it possible that Candy Panda could beast mode up and become that godlike AD carry?
The first thing he has to do to get there is get defense, because unlike Against All Authority, they can kill him. Like, Schleier can destroy Candy Panda. Ocelot doesn't have nearly the burst that Schleier's Kha'Zix does. So if he can get like a Warmogs or Randwinds, much like Nono has gotten, then Candy Panda could power up. But he is a long ways away. And now with the Baron up, the pressure is on, because there is no way Against All Authority is going to wait long enough to fight this Baron to let Candy Panda get the items he needs.
Well, Nif clearing out those wards. Very clear play with that Oracle, making use of it. We do see the Randians now being picked up for Ocelot, so as that next fight is looking to develop, and it may well come about in a moment, we see the teams just starting to fight for positions. Those waves continuing to pressure on. Bottom wave is going to push itself. Top wave is around about even, so really it's down this middle, and Against All Authorities, they want to go for this moment, but you can see they actually still feel hesitant coming in for this Baron.
Well, they did get caught fairly heavily out of position the last time they invaded SK's jungle, so they got to be careful not to throw this game away. They're actually started the Baron right here, and they are a little split up. They have to be really careful not to get initiated in a bad spot. This could be a big fight.
Nif manages to go in, he puts the box down. The crescendo only hit Nif there.
Ooh.
That may well be a backfire. Schleier is going to get taken down very quickly. Went in for Candy Panda, but it's no. He takes down Nif. Now he's on Candy Panda. Freddy actually down the side there, fighting off the screen, but he's going to be Ocelot keeping them at pressure. It is going to be Kevin taking down Freddy 1-2-2, but Candy Panda went down. Requiem's going to come out. Kevin's going to get dazzled out. Requiem doesn't quite finish him, but no comes in. It's a triple. It's going to be a quadra. Ocelot goes down. There it is. No limit for No.
He got so strong in this game, and the fight was decided based on the positioning and the dives on the AD carries. I thought when Kha'Zix went in early, Schleier died immediately. Candy Panda might be able to carry this, but Freddy just walked at him, and he took him out. Nono rolled through, got the quadra kill. They're finishing off the inhibitor, and looking at the Death Arms, it doesn't look like Against All Authority is going to try to finish this one off. They're just savoring it.
They are savoring it. They're going to take down an inhibitor 1 and 2. And there is the middle one going down. Are they going to finish it? No, they're not. They're going to back away because they realize, like you say, the death timers are up. So they're not going to be able to get that second inhibitor down. But nevertheless, they have that big advantage again. They didn't even take the Baron down in that fight either. So 20-14. 5,000 gold advantage for Against All Authority currently, and a 3-turret advantage. More importantly, the 2 inhibitor turrets down. 1 inhibitor is floored in that mid lane once again.
And the Baron is still up. So we're going to just see them clash into each other again. Look at all the wards in the Baron area right now on both sides. There's just full vision for every team. What all these guys do nowadays when they fight in these brush areas, they just overward during a fight so no one can brush juke. It's not as condensed an area. Only the physical impassable walls are really what they can't get by. Freddy doesn't have his flash for another 60 seconds, so I think AAA will want to wait until that happens, but the big thing is No just keeps getting more items. He's got his Phantom Dancer and an extra BF sword on top of that, so the quadra kill Vayne is poised to get another one.
Well, I think, you know, Quickshot mentioned it earlier on, the fact that he had that word with Ocelot, and he said then that against Royal Authorities is one of the teams he does fear down there, and maybe they are proving why. 11-0-3 No currently on Vayne. That's probably the worst score Vayne you'd ever want to come up against. He's got an Infinity Edge, a Blade of the Rune King, a Randian, so he's tanky, and now just completed the Phantom Dancer, and another BF sword. Why not?
And what's going on here? Schleid got Infinity Edge on Kha'Zix. He's gonna...
He's had it, yeah.
He's hoping he crits, I guess, with his auto attack, even though he's mainly a spellcaster. I'd like a Bloodthirster, but here's the wall. We might see the fight.
It is going to be Virtual going in for Nif. Nif has to use the box, throw it down. It's ready, 1-2-2 once again in amongst them. And No just off at the side. Corellius uses that ulti. Slayer does take down the first kill. Equalizer comes down. It is going to be Candy Panda picking up one. Slayer picks up a second. Slayer goes leaping in towards Candy Panda. He's going to pursue. He manages to land the Void Spikes. The slow comes out. The jump is going to be available. Candy Panda gets the 90 caliber net. Is he slow enough? He's going to have to jump on a Void Spike on the fountain. He goes for it. Didn't quite get it. No, he's taken down, and Yeast in the hole comes out. He's going to get survived. Corellius, no. Hercubot finishes him off, but it doesn't matter because No is there, and he has taken another inhibitor and walking out of the base.
Oh my God. If Against All Authority could win this game by now. They whiffed a crescendo in that fight and still won. The pressure and just straight up damage that Freddy did to everybody in that fight let Schleia walk around and just clean up. He's got the Void Staff now as well on Karthus. No wants to sneak in and kill Hercubot. He's being greedy here. There's the ult on Vayne.
Is it a little too greedy? Here he comes. He's going to go around. It's Hercubot. Wow. He's going to
go anywhere.
But where's he going to go? He's going to drop down. He's going to get dazzled. He's going to get shattered. He's going to get the lantern. And the hook on No. Is it going to be enough? Oh, no. Here comes Candy Panda. Candy Panda can turn it for a double. But look at the damage reversal straight away there. Ocelot comes in. Ace in the hole comes out. Virtual's going to get jumped up. Virtual, the greediness maybe playing down. Cataclysm on towards No. He's still managing to get away. He's taken down. Equalizer finishes him off. SK Gaming going to try and pile in.
There's 2 inhibitors down for SK, but they just cleaned up so much of Against All Authority. Will they go for a Baron, or will they try to get counter inhibitors? They have such an opportunity here because they've finally taken down No's Vayne.
Oh, they realized it, and let's see, they're questioning it straight away. They've got a 40-second window. They have a few minions on their Nexus turret, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to take it down. There is going to be super minions backing it up. They're going to have to tank this one out. The hook comes thrown out there from Nif. He flashed in for this one. They have to take this inhibitor turret down. They have to force it from it, but Slayer's too much of a problem off the side there. Crescendo on towards Ocelot and Kevin. He's going to come across, but he flashes straight back. Ocelot trying to get in there. Hercubot now caught out of position, and he gets pulled back by the lantern. The hook on Freddy 1-2-2. They're going to get the flame spreader. The ace in the hole comes in. Bam! He's down. And now you can see Slayer jumping in. Requiem comes out. Hercubot goes down. It's a double kill. Can Slayer finish him off? He gets another. The hook comes in from Nif. Turns it back around, and he's forced backwards. It's a 4 for 3.
Death Sentence flew in right at the end and got the kill. What is happening to you, man? My voice is gone. It's cracking. It's being crazy.
This is Europe.
This is European LCS. This is Against All Authority versus SK Game. This is game 2 of the week. We're just getting underway here.
We're just getting warmed up.
See what happens. And now, okay, No's back up. Everyone on SK is pretty much dead. Candy Panda has to clear out super minions. That's the Baron for AAA.
That is going to be the Baron for AAA, no question about it. No comes around. He's going to clear that one round. They've got to realize that's what's happening, so they're just going to have to try and defend the base. So, let's slow down a little bit. In the tactical position, what would have been better? Obviously, they didn't get the inhibitor. Would have been a wiser choice to go Baron a moment ago for SK Gaming.
If SK could play this again, I thought they were going to be going for the Baron. The big thing is, since they had 2 inhibitors down, they were pretty much screwed anyway. This is the wrong thing we have on the screen, guys. We need to get back to the main feed. What's happening now, though, is Against All Authority does have the Baron buff. They're back shopping, and now, thankfully, we are back on the real thing. Scared me for a minute.
We're back, but more importantly, we are back at the right point, and you can see everything on your screen, which is great. So thank you very much for production for cleaning things up. We have everyone showing, and so let's recap what is going on here. It's 8-5 in turrets, 2 inhibitors. Actually, there's 1 respawn right now, the middle one, which I expect Against All Authority to go towards. They have the Baron buff, 2620. 5,000 in gold. This is far from over, though. SK Gaming, as you've just proven, they can turn this around. That was really down to Against All Authorities maybe a little bit of greediness from Nono.
Yeah, Nono was being a greed boy. He was 12-0. He was really happy with himself, and they decided to 2v the world in the base. It didn't work out. If Against All Authority stays together, they have the 2 inhibitors down. They have the Baron buff. Well, now it's just 1 inhibitor. They're going to be trying to clean this one out. They can win any fight. They have been doing sloppy initiations and coming out on top. If they just go in coordinated and well, they should take this one out. But SK Gaming still has their heads in the game. They're taking the opportunities. Getting back to that Baron before we had the screen scare. If SK had the Baron, I feel like they'd be turtling a lot better right now. But because they don't, it's tough to hold off here. The gold disadvantage, the fact they've lost so many team fights, and the fact they're going up against a Baron are all worrisome. Here comes maybe a fight.
They've engaged on Freddy. They thought about going for it there. Wall of Pain did come down, and the way he popped that defile, he was ready to go, ready for action. Didn't manage to catch him. Virtual this time. The hook on towards a minion is not going to be enough, but Freddy's taking a lot of damage. They do take the inhibitor down, and Against Authorities are going to back away from this one. They're going to go towards that top wave and see if they can push in.
Yeah, they still have half their Baron left, so 2 more minutes of that. They're letting the Baron region and the Taric heals just keep them going on this one. If they get the 3 inhibitors, they're trying to take the safe way out, but there's a hook on a Freddy again.
Another hook on Freddy. This time the crescendo lands on towards Oslo and Hercubot. They push him away, but the Void Spikes come out. Now SK Gaming, they want to engage. It's going to be the Requiem coming out from the side, but it doesn't do a great deal. Yellow Hercubot is taken low, though. The hook again, this time it's on Virtual. Not really the target they want to get, and SK Gaming just trying to hold off. They have an inhibitor respawning. They've got Super Minions on it down the bottom, but it is going to be Against All Authorities keeping pressure on the top lane. Now they're going to come in.
SK has to fight on the next wave if they want any chance, because their side lanes have Super Minis, and there they go!
They got the hook, Cataclysm down, Nono's the target, can they finish him off? Yes, they can! That's the main man down, Freddy122 got out, Candy Panda gets some damage, he's going to rappel towards him, Freddy122 down. They're going to have to deal with this one quick, because they've got Super Minions on the base. Slayer's running for the bottom inhibitor, he's going to get in, that is going down, there's nothing they can do about it, he's going to hit and run, he is off.
So they got the inhibitor, even though they lost the fight, and now Nif is trying to chase down onto Schley. He got the pull.
He flashes in, gets the lash, but Schley just turns around and eats him for a living, but he's still shielding it up. Oh, Nocelot takes down Slayer. Brilliant play from Nif.
Yeah, the game's not over yet. They saved their... They did save their turn, but the minions just finished it. So they have 3 exposed inhibitors, 2 destroyed inhibitors. The Baron buff will be gone for Against All Authority, but the team fighting just isn't there. The cohesion is lacking for some reason. They had it in the middle of the game when they were winning all the fights, but it's starting to peel back again. Look at Candy Panda's items. 420 CS, 19,500 gold. This is the monster he wanted to turn himself into, so he can potentially destroy Schley when he dives in. If Freddy walks at him again, he's going to be able to kill Freddy before he dies to the Defile. This might be the moment SK wanted to get to. Both 80 carries are pretty much at max items. I could say that in quotation marks because Nono could still sell his boots for a Zephyr or something. But when the game gets this long, the gold lead and all the things that have happened before kind of stop mattering. Because if you get to those crazy 6-item builds, anything could happen because every individual is so powerful. The positioning and the preciseness in team fights is what ends up coming into account.
And what you can see there is Nif. Nif has more armor right now, 169 armor, than Nono with the Randians.
Well, how many souls does he have? He's got 152 harvested souls right now. So that's giving him 106 AP without any ability power items on this Thresh. It's a long game. He's stretching it, and this would be a... I mean, SK was winning.
Yeah.
Against All 30 started coming back. Greedy in the base. Crazy team fights. The next Baron still like 2 or 3 minutes away. If SK can somehow get their inhibitors to come back up, they'd be okay. But now, since they still have 2 down and a 3rd exposed, this is the moment where they have to hold if they want to come back in the game. If SK can stop Against All 30 from getting this 3rd inhibitor, they might be able to come back.
So let's see if Nif can open it up. He lands the hook. It's Corelli as he pulls in. They put a bunch of damage out. Ocelot's got in. My word, I think that's a mistake, though. Ocelot's just going to get burned, and that could well be the mistake they needed. SK Gaming now back in there running. Candy Panda's having to do problems. Hercubot's taking down Freddy122. Requiem's going to come out. Candy Panda motion off for that Requiem. Oh, look at the damage on Nif there. Just straight away melts him. Nono is in there. They're trying to do as much as they can. Round the side, Slayer gets taken down. Nono with a double kill. Ace in the hole comes out, but he's not going to do her thing. It's going on to Virtual, probably the worst damage to go for it. And wow, just like that, the game is over. Against All Authorities will take victory against SK Gaming. Wow, they certainly fought for it.
Almost a 50-minute game. Now Candy Pad, the last remaining defender. Oh, really?
No. Can he hold it off? Can he hold it off? That's the question. I don't think he can. No, they're going to jump towards him, and wow. Wow. What a game. And against All Authorities, finally pick up a victory against SK Gaming. And I did not see that coming because that game was crazy.
You can see the players against All Authorities just sitting back and they're just laughing at this. They're like, how did we let this go so long? It got a little sloppy at the end of it, but great victory for them. They stalled long enough, and then, yes, they did close it out at the end.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Great to see the sportsmanship as well between the players, but let's get over to the analysis desk to see what the hell they're going to select from that crazy back-and-forth match.
Thank you for that one, D-Man and Jad. It was an awesome game. And, you know, I think one of the highlights is just the amount of excitement that you can actually see from the players, from the in-game matchups. At the beginning of that game, it was fairly slow-paced. You know, I mean, that ramped up, that escalated very, very quickly. Against All Authority, a little bit behind, but they started winning team fights after team fights after team fights.
It's funny that you mentioned the excitement because I heard it in Jat's voice. Those high-pitched squeals, I thought Joe was here, you know, doing those as well. I mean, it was on Demon's level right there. But yeah, it was such a crazy game. Those fights were just non-stop. And the action, it was always so close. And Nono showing that he can play other champions besides Ezreal.
It was really good to actually see him playing Vayne because we touched on the fact that his positional play has been a little bit questionable in some of the games previously, and specifically when playing against a Thresh. He's been caught out numerous times, you know, and his Ezreal, even on a champion like Ez, who has that air of comfortability, air of safety with his, you know...
that safety zone with
exactly.
that arcane shift.
You don't really have that in your play, and what was really good about Nono is he didn't fall too far behind in the early game. You know, he was sort of on the back foot against Caitlyn, but it is to be expected, you know, in direct comparison. But as the game started going further and further and further, he just picked up kill after kill after kill.
You know, something that's interesting is, yeah, we were talking about his Ezreal. He likes to be really aggressive. He gets caught out, but his Vayne really didn't get caught too much. I mean, there was one or two pulls that are hooks that you really couldn't see coming, and those were, you know, very solid by Nif. But he played, you know, a lot more passive. He let his team do the work of protecting them, and he just killed them one by one. With that build he had, he was just unstoppable. Well,
we actually had to decide where we were going to jump into a replay, and there was two sort of really big discussion points. The fact that we decided on a fight around about 28 minutes is the game-changing battle. This was where AAA really stepped up, took control of the matchup. They'd actually been winning team fights up until this point. But let's jump into the replay and just paint the picture for you. It is 9-9 on the kill score. You can see the gold lead that SK Gaming have, you know, at the moment. It is around 3,000-4,000 gold. And this is the first fight that really started to show how well AAA could fight. Jason, take us through it.
Well, as you do see, Hercubot actually gets caught a little bit right there, and then AA against Authority just pretty much go right in. Hercubot is the only one gets caught with that crescendo, but they blow him up instantly. And then you see Virtual on that turret just being a nuisance, just running around, just soaking up that damage. Also with a nice flag Q combo to really knock them up, and the 5-person Cataclysm was insane. We were watching it, and we're like, wow, that fight is over. Against Authority is going to get destroyed, but because of that Blade of the Rune King, Nono was able to sustain with that barrier. And not to mention that Karthus ultimate to really turn it around. And Schley, I mean, you have to give him credit. He was playing phenomenal that entire game. I mean, he built an Infinity's Edge, which we never really see on a Kha'Zix, but it didn't matter in the end because it really just, it did work. I mean, his position every time, he was always sneaking off the side to create opportunities, and when he would dive in on you, he would kill you.
Yeah, you've summarized it perfectly. The exact way that Against Authority played each of those team fights was, you know, to perfection. They waited for the opportune time for their carries to jump in. Once they managed to then, you know, pick the right engagement, wait for the equalizer to go down, wait for that Cataclysm to get burned, they then decided to commit and really jump in and, you know, bulldoze their way through everybody.
There's something actually that really is curious, or it's not curious, but it's really intriguing to me, is that we've pointed this out before. Corrales, he plays Sona most of the time. I think he's, every game except one, he's played Sona, but his crescendos, I mean, they weren't amazing.
Yeah.
And anyway, I mean, you saw him hit one right there, which honestly, in the end, it did work out for him. They killed Hercubot and snowballed it, but he didn't really land a lot of really good crescendos, and yet they still were able to perform.
It's hit and miss. You know, we see those crescendos that are 3, 4, 5-man crescendos that are completely game-changing, and crescendos like this, which is a little bit more defensive in use. But I think one of the things that Corrales did very, very well in this particular matchup was the use of his auras, was the healing, the mobility, and the fact to deal some damage. So we did have to pick an MVP for this particular match, and it was a bit of a no-brainer because Vayne simply did such a good job, you know, with that AD carry role. once he picked up a couple of kills, Nono is, of course, your most valuable player for this matchup.
I mean, it's a Vayne. You don't want to go against a Vayne late game. I mean, they had also to lock him down, but in the end, it just didn't matter. That aura out of Virtual, protection of Corralius, not to mention Freddy just zoning them with the Wall of Pain and his Defile, kept him protected, and it did its job.
Yeah, and really, really, really good props. Oh, mad props has to be given to Freddy. Again, he's playing that mid-roll. I say mid-roll, lane swap to but playing the AP champions and playing them very, very well.
We have to give credit to Nif, though. I mean, the hooks he landed were perfect. I mean, he kept landing them onto the key targets. Unfortunately, they weren't able to follow up on that because how fed Vayne was.
Well, we'll definitely touch on some of the particular plays in that matchup because it was an epic. But before we do that, I believe that Nono is on stage with Shox. So let's see what he had to say about the match.
I'm here with Nono, who's also the MVP. Congratulations, man. Now, let's start at the beginning. It was a crazy game, and the picks and bans were crazy. You had the Freddy going mid with Kartus, the Taric jungle, Ocelot going Jarvan in the mid lane. Walk us through that.
It was funny because we wanted Taric and Sona for the buff. We got it, and Freddy couldn't change his rune, so he didn't have magic resist. It was funny because Jarvan was mid, so it was just perfect.
You had an awesome game on Vayne. I think it was Demon friend who said, well, if Nono's not going to get his Ezreal, he relies so much on those escapes with Arcane Shift. He's not going to do good. But au contraire, you did amazing on Vayne.
I don't like Demon. Yeah, but I think I can play every char, but I don't play them because I'm a bit scared and maybe I want to play to have a hero who can jump, escape, and shit. So yeah, I pick Ezreal because it's my main and I can escape, I can chase, and I'm comfortable with, that's why. But I can play every hero.
Play every hero. You played Vayne and you started off, I saw you had Biscuit. So what was up with your masteries there?
Because I like Cookie. and no, mostly because I saw a post on Reddit who told me we said take masteries 14 or 16 to have a Doran rings with a pot and with the biscuits. So it's good because you can sustain on lane a lot with the Doran's ring, with the heal pot, and with the biscuits. So
Doran's ring?
Yeah. No.
Doran's blade?
Doran's blade, sorry.
Yeah, Doran's blade, of course. But then you guys were really ahead in the game, almost through it. What happened?
I don't know. I was like, oh fuck, we're gonna lose this, oops, sorry. We're gonna lose this. We're gonna lose this, and I was so scared. But we did it, so it was fine. But really, on TeamSpeak, I just turned my mate mad. I saying, oh fuck, we lose.
But you won. Congratulations, Nono, and congratulations on being MVP. As for us, we're going into a short break. But remember, you can reach us on Twitter at LOL eSports, #LCS, and send us your answer to the question, how would our European LCS teams do if they had to compete in the Season 3 finals right now? Of course, if you have any questions for any one of the people at the analysis desk or the caster desk, at LOL eSports, #LCS. Now we have one of our top matchups of the weekend coming up after the break as Season 1 champions Fnatic take on the struggling, well, they did very good in their first match, Evil Geniuses. So it's time for a breather as the players are setting up. Don't go anywhere. Fnatic versus EG, up next.